Let's talk about why Spectre sucks, a Bond film that's more baffling than thrilling. Spectre, 2015, is the 24th installment in the James Bond franchise, a series that has delighted and occasionally baffled audiences for over half a century. Daniel Craig's fourth outing as the world's most famous spy is filled with stunning visuals, suave suits, and enough explosions to make a Michael Bay movie look like an indie film. But despite its slick appearance, Spectre is a convoluted mess of cliches, implausible scenarios, and enough cheesy moments to make you feel like you've been force-fed a diet of Bond tropes and bad jokes. Let's unravel the tangled web of Spectre and see why this Bond movie is less shaken and more stirred into a hot mess. The plot of Spectre is like trying to follow a soap opera while wearing sunglasses indoors and listening to heavy metal music. It kicks off with Bond taking a leisurely stroll through a Day of the Dead festival in Mexico City before casually destroying half the town in a chaotic action sequence. Why? Because in the world of Bond, subtlety is for amateurs and blowing stuff up is a requirement. Bond discovers a cryptic message from the past that leads him on a globe-trotting mission to uncover the truth about the shadowy organization known as Spectre. Along the way, he reconnects with old friends, encounters new enemies, and somehow manages to fit in time for a whirlwind romance with Dr. Madeline Swan. By the time the movie reaches its climax with an over-the-top showdown at Spectre's headquarters, you're less invested in the plot and more impressed by Bond's ability to navigate so many explosions without a single hair out of place. The characters in Spectre are a colorful mix of familiar faces and new additions, stumbling through the plot with all the finesse of a drunken ballroom dancer. Daniel Craig's Bond is the ultimate action hero, complete with perfectly tailored suits, a penchant for vodka martinis, and an ability to survive more explosions than a cartoon coyote. His constant smirking and deadpan delivery make you question if he's actually a top-notch spy or just really into playing it cool. Léa Seydoux' Madeline Swan is the latest in a long line of Bond girls who manage to be both brilliant and utterly helpless. Her relationship with Bond is so forced and cliché that you'll be left wondering if they're actually in love or just really bad at pretending. Her role in the plot is mostly to look scared, be kidnapped, and occasionally offer up some vague exposition, making you question if she's actually a doctor or just really good at playing the damsel in distress. Christoph Waltz's Franz Oberhauser, aka Blofeld, is the villain who's so obviously evil that he might as well be wearing a t-shirt that says "I'm the bad guy." His plan to create a global surveillance network is about as subtle as a bulldozer, and his constant smirking and over-the-top antics make you question if he's actually a criminal mastermind or just really into dramatic entrances. The revelation that he's Bond's long-lost foster brother is less of a shocking twist and more of a groan-inducing eye-roll moment. The dialogue in Spectre is a masterclass in how to write a script that's both iconic and painfully cringeworthy, filled with lines that have become legendary for all the wrong reasons. The film's attempts at blending tension and humor are so heavy-handed that you'll be left wondering if the writers were aiming for a serious spy thriller or just really bad at subtlety. Daniel Craig's constant stream of deadpan one-liners and dramatic declarations might be amusing if they didn't feel so forced, making you question if he's actually trying to save the world or just really into bad action movie tropes. His frequent use of phrases like "the name's Bond, James Bond" are more likely to induce eye rolls than applause. Léa Seydoux' attempts at delivering meaningful dialogue are undermined by the film's insistence on turning every conversation into a melodramatic soap opera, making you wonder if she's actually a brilliant doctor or just really into dramatic pauses. Her constant stream of longing looks and whispered confessions are more likely to make you cringe than care. Christoph Waltz's villainous monologues are so over-the-top and cliched that you'll be left questioning if he's actually trying to intimidate Bond or just really bad at delivering lines with a straight face. His constant sneering and melodramatic declarations are more likely to make you laugh than fear for the fate of the world. Action sequences, a chaotic carnival of over-the-top stunts. The action sequences in Spectre are a dizzying blend of chaotic choreography and over-the-top stunts that make you feel like you're watching a particularly violent episode of a Saturday morning cartoon. The film's various battles and chases are filled with improbable stunts and ridiculous set pieces, turning everyday objects into weapons in a way that's more baffling than exciting. The infamous helicopter fight scene, where Bond takes on a heavily armed thug in a spinning chopper, is supposed to be a thrilling spectacle. Instead, it feels more like a poorly rendered video game cutscene, with Bond's improbable stunts and the thug's relentless incompetence defying the laws of physics and common sense. The constant use of slow-motion shots makes every action scene feel like it's happening in a vat of molasses, adding to the movie's already glacial pace. The final showdown at Spectre's headquarters is a mess of flashing lights and CGI that looks more like a particularly trippy screensaver than an epic battle between good and evil. The fight scenes are so filled with random explosions and improbable gadgetry that you'll be left questioning if the characters are actually fighting for their lives or just really, really into pyrotechnics. Special effects, a visual feast of flawed fantasies. The special effects in Spectre are a mix of impressive visuals and laughably bad CGI that looks like it was thrown together by a team of animators who got lost in the dark and had to finish their work on a deadline. The film's various depictions of gadgets and futuristic technology are filled with flashy effects that are meant to wow the audience but often come off as a distraction from the film's flimsy plot and wooden acting. The CGI is particularly jarring in the scenes involving the various gadgets, which look more like rejected designs from a low-budget sci-fi movie than cutting-edge spy technology. The film's reliance on special effects to tell its story often feels like a crutch, with the flashy visuals doing little to mask the film's many narrative shortcomings. Logic and plot holes. A Swiss cheese of a story. Spectre is a baffling parade of logical inconsistencies and plot holes that make you wonder if anyone involved in the production actually read the script. The idea that a secret organization could create a global surveillance network without anyone noticing is absurd enough. But the film's internal logic is so inconsistent that you'll be left questioning if they're actually trying to tell a coherent story or just really, really bad at spy fiction. The logistics of Bond's mission are equally laughable. How does a secret agent manage to navigate the complexities of international espionage with all the skill of a seasoned spy despite having no prior experience? Why does MI6 keep sending their top agent on increasingly dangerous missions without any backup? And how is it that Bond manages to survive every improbable stunt with barely a scratch? The film's resolution is equally perplexing. The final battle with Blofeld wraps up in a way that's both predictable and unsatisfying, leaving you wondering if the whole movie was just an elaborate setup for a particularly flashy fireworks display. The film's lack of any clear message or theme makes it feel more like a collection of random events than a cohesive story, leading to a conclusion that's as baffling as it is abrupt. Technology. A gaggle of gadgets and goofiness. The technology in Spectre is a collection of absurd gadgets and gizmos that look like they were designed by a team of sci-fi enthusiasts with a penchant for chrome and flashing lights. From the nanotechnology, which looks more like something out of a bad Halloween store than cutting-edge spy gear, to the various high-tech weapons and devices, the film's technology is so over the top that you'll be left wondering if they're actually trying to impress you or just really, really into novelty gadgets. The nanotechnology in particular is a device that's supposed to be both terrifying and awe-inspiring, but it ends up looking more like a flashy toy than a fearsome piece of technology. The idea that a single device could allow someone to track and control a person is absurd enough, but the film's constant use of the device makes you question if they're actually trying to build tension or just really, really bad at maintaining continuity. Conclusion: a spy thriller that's more laughable than lethal. In conclusion, Spectre is a film that's more entertaining for its unintentional humor and over-the-top antics than for any actual storytelling or character development. Its plot is a convoluted circus of cliches, its characters are a motley crew of over-the-top archetypes, and its action sequences are a chaotic carnival of explosions and slow-motion shots. If you're looking for a Bond film that's more laughable than lethal, Spectre is the perfect choice. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Quirky Critic signing out.